What's up, my friend? Welcome to my channel. My name is Nagar, and today I want to tell you my story. Today I want to tell you how I went from being a corporate engineer for 5 years to quitting my job to taking out my 401k, which is the biggest taboo in that world, to moving to a new state, starting over in my 30s, and being unemployed for the majority of the past 3 years, and somehow being the happiest, healthiest, hottest, and most fulfilled that I have ever been in my entire life. So if you want to know more, just keep on watching. Before I start telling you the rest of this story, I want to first show you the video of me on the day that I quit, the day that I put in my 2-week notice. I was driving somewhere, I don't know where, and I made a video in the car. It's a story, and I could only find it from like Instagram stories. So excuse me if it's choppy or the audio is bad, but I really wanted you to have like the real raw emotions that I was feeling. And first, let's watch that. Something today. I made a very big decision today, and I wanted to talk about it because, I mean, to be honest, I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with what I did. A lot of people are going to be very negative about it and, just not approve of it. And I know that. I think most people are going to be like that. But I also really believe that there's going to be some people that need to hear this. And that's the only reason I'm posting this video. I quit my job today. I quit my corporate engineering job. I put in my 2-week notice today, and it felt, I cried for like half an hour after, and it was like all these like residual negative emotions that I had built up over the last like 4.5 years of trying to survive there. Not necessarily that it was a bad space, no, it just wasn't for me. And it wasn't that, it just felt like I wasn't letting go of a job. It felt like I was letting go of a whole person, an entire person with all of her personality and all of her background, and the fact that she went to engineering school for 5 years and she had a master's and she had a career, and she had a status. So I let go of her today, and I mean, it was emotional, I'm not gonna lie. But honestly, it's like a weight lifted off my shoulder, and I can't wait to just see what life brings for me. 100%, I'm a very, very big believer in the fact that if you want something in your life, you have to make space for it first. And that's what I did. I realized like this job was no longer serving me, and I had to let it go for other things to come into my life. And honestly, I'm so happy. Now, I obviously, with that job being gone, so is a lot of things. So is health insurance and company car and discounts and status and prestige and blah blah blah, but I really don't care about any of it. I really don't. I've let go of judging myself, and I've let go of judging other people based on what they do, which honestly at this point it sounds so crazy and foreign to me. Like, I can't believe 2 years ago I thought, well, I can't quit because I'm an engineer. I don't want to be anything else like who I am. I want people to know me like that. Because why? That shows that you're smart. I mean, anyway, I've let go of that, and so for those of you who don't know, I actually didn't grow up here. I grew up in Iran. I lived there for 17 years. I moved when I was 17. So that's a long time. So that was pretty much my stages of development was there. And they tell you this is how life is. Maybe you wear a hijab, or maybe you are supposed to go to school and you're supposed to do good in school, or whatever it you're supposed to do. But this is how life is. And then I moved here. And when I moved here, I had to relearn everything, like from all over again. And it was very different. They said the same thing. They said, this is how life is. And now I'm at a point where I realized neither of those worked for me. And now, let me tell you, I'm going to decide what my life is. I'm going to define how my life is. It doesn't matter that life is, you're supposed to have some job, you're supposed to have some 401k, you're supposed to have like savings, or like you're supposed to go to college, or you're supposed to get a vaccine, or I don't care, because I've lived through many times of trying to tell me what life is based on where I was living. And if you think about that, like how can so many people, how can people tell you, how can different kinds of life be so right but so different at the same time in different parts of the world? Does that make any sense to you? So I decided that I'm gonna live my life the way I want, and I'm gonna break the rules, because rules are completely made up by whoever the fuck decided that this is how life is. I'm gonna decide my life. I'm gonna choose my life, and I'm gonna live the way I want. So if anybody needed to hear this, for the people that needed to hear this, like, I hope that you find the courage to go follow your dreams and to go find purpose in something that gives you fulfillment, instead of being so bogged down in the security that some job can provide for you and leash you. Happy Wednesday. Okay, first of all, that was heavy even for me. Like, when I just watched that, I just found that actually right before I made this video. Sorry. So I just watched that and I was like, whoa. I don't know where all of that came from. I obviously, first of all, can we just acknowledge how much better I look now? And I'm 31, and that was 3 years ago. Guys, there's hope. There's hope for us all. If I look better now than I did back then, there's hope. But honestly, I feel, hold on. Okay, so I don't want to go on tangents, but also I did not want to script this video. I really wanted it to be authentic. I really wanted to be real with you, because this is not an easy journey. If you're watching this, you're probably thinking about quitting your job. Maybe you've been thinking about it for a while, and you're an adult. So if you do quit your job, it would mean that you'd have to start over. Or maybe you already have went through that step. Maybe you've already quit, and now you're dealing with what comes next. And that is a whole different thing. Getting to the point to quit your job is one thing. And then finding your life from after that is a whole other thing. And I did this 3 years ago, like I mentioned. So I've been in it for a while, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I would not change it for the world. I would not have it any other way. There's no way I would choose slaving away my life to something that I don't care, or I don't believe in, or that I don't even feel like what I'm doing matters, or who I am matters, or just going through day to day, never learning anything new, just being so stagnant. I will never want to go back to that. Like, I will take this struggle every single day, every single time, every single second, and this makes me happy. It has. Of course, it has its ups and downs, but I think it's worth it. By no means, the disclaimer, I'm not telling you what to do, but that was my choice. That was my choice, and I would never go back. So I did put some stuff down to help me stay on track, because there's a few things I do definitely want to mention. So first, I want to talk about how I knew that it was time for me to leave. And for me to tell you that, for me to explain that, first I want to tell you the story of a camel in the zoo. And please, please, whatever you do, do not fast forward the story. You need to hear it. Now, I'm not the best. I'm going to admit I'm not the best at storytelling. But let me try. Let me try. And no matter how shitty I am, you're going to get the point of this story. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm glad I didn't fast forward this. So there's a camel and its mom. The baby camel is living with his mom, and she asks her mom, she's like, hey mom, like why do we have hoofs on our, why do we have this stuff on our back? And the mom's like, well, we have this stuff on our back because we store water. We store food and water in there. So when we're in the desert, we can use it for when we go long periods of time without eating. And then the baby camel was like, well, okay, mom, why do we have these long eyelashes? And why do we have these things that cover our eyes? And she's like, oh, well, it's because when we're in the desert is a sandy place. And we have long eyelashes and these things on our eyes because it keeps the sand away from our eyes so we can see. And the baby camel is like, okay, well, then, mom, if we have these hoofs on our back and if we have long eyelashes and we have these things that cover our eyes, then why do we live in the zoo? And you guys, I was living in the zoo. I was a camel in the zoo. I am so sorry that I suck at telling this story. And I'm going to look this up again and I'm probably going to redo this. But now that I told you the camel in the zoo story, I want to talk about how I knew that I was a camel in the zoo. How I knew, because I know this. At least that's how I felt, and I know a lot of you feel that way because I talk to a lot of women that are in that situation right now, and that's how they feel. And the thing is, when you, in that moment where you're a camel in the zoo, sometimes it's really hard to understand that because you think that the blame is on you. You think it's your fault. You don't think that you're in the wrong environment. You think that everything is right, because obviously some people are thriving. Some people are doing great. Some people don't complain at all. But somehow you can't relate. Somehow you complain. Somehow it just doesn't feel right for you. It doesn't feel like you can thrive. It doesn't feel like you're motivated to do anything here. And we tend to do this thing where we put the blame on ourselves because, let's be honest, we grow up as kids. What happens when we go to school, we do something and then, oh, it's your fault. Oh, if you're not doing well in school, it's your fault then. It's never like, oh, maybe school isn't the best thing for you, or maybe the way that they teach things is incompatible with your intelligence. No, it's never that. It's always, oh, you're a lazy kid, or oh, you aren't doing well because something is wrong with you. It's always something is wrong with you. So the biggest thing to start with is first bringing acceptance to yourself, like accepting yourself. And how do you know that you don't accept yourself? Because you're like, well, Negar, how do I know that I don't accept myself? How do I know that I'm judging myself? A lot of this stuff is hard to recognize initially because you're so used to doing it. It's like if I'm cooking and it smells in the house, I'm not noticing it. But if I'm outside the house and I come in, I'm like, oh, it smells like food in the house. It's just like that. When you're living with something and it's your reality, you may not notice it, but you have to remove yourself from it to be able to tell what's going on. So a way you can know that you don't accept yourself, the easiest way is you judge other people. You judge other people. So pay attention. Pay attention when you see other people. Maybe you see another girl and you're like, oh, fuck her. She's like blah, blah, blah. Why are you judging her? That is the biggest indication for you. Learn from that. That is gold. That is literally gold. Like I have gotten to a point where, and I don't know if you noticed, in the story, in my story when I was making a story about quitting my job, I said, I stopped judging myself. Because once you stop judging yourself and you accept yourself for who you are, and you love yourself for who you are, acceptance is love. Love is acceptance. It's the same thing. When you fully accept yourself, you realize, okay, I'm not this insane person I'm making myself to be. I'm not this terrible person and all these that I think I am, with these things that I think are wrong with me, all these wrong things about me. No. Guys, listen, nothing is There's nothing is only one thing. Like, there's no day without night. Look at a coin. There's two sides of a coin. Opposites exist together. A coin can't only have one side. It has to have another side. The day, you know it's day because you've seen the night. If it was always day, we would never know what day is. It would just be our reality because we've never seen day being gone. So if you have certain qualities that are good, you're also going to have the opposite of those exact qualities. How can I give you an example? I don't know how I can give you an example right now, but just think about that. Just think about that. Nothing is always good or always bad. Nothing is good or bad, period. Everything just is. You are this and you are that, and that's totally fine. Like I have very strong drive. And that's great. And that's so good, Oh, what a good quality, right? But what people don't realize is that quality, when applied in a different setting, like sometimes when it comes to communication or when it comes to conflict resolution, I become very aggressive with people. And that's a bad quality. It's just who I am. Now, you can mitigate some of this stuff. You can know yourself. And once you know yourself more, you know, okay, why am I acting like XYZ? But you can't judge yourself and say this is good and this is bad. So, with that said, how did I know that I was a camel in the zoo at my corporate job? Number one, I continually felt undervalued. I continually felt like my potential was going to waste. Like nobody was seeing my potential. Like there was things I could do that like nobody would give me. I could not get the chance to do it. I could not get the chance to like grow or like I was not being put in I was not given the opportunities that I felt like I could handle and I could thrive through. I just wasn't given those opportunities. I couldn't get those opportunities, whatever it was, whether you're giving it or getting it, those opportunities weren't happening for me where I knew that I could thrive and I felt like my potential was going to waste. That was one of the reasons. The other thing was I felt like nobody understood me and I didn't understand anybody. I was very puzzled. I remember when I was at corporate, I was very puzzled. I would look at these guys and I'd be like, how are you happy? Like, how are you? I mean, maybe they weren't happy, but there was a lot of things that I would think were so wrong. For example, when we took trips, we would take trips for a couple of weeks. We would actually come out to Arizona. And during those trips, like, we didn't have decent food and we had to work all day and we didn't have any time to ourselves, no personal time, and we didn't have time to work out and XYZ. And for me, those things were very important and I could not understand like what could be more important than that. I don't care what this job is. I really don't. Like, nothing is more important than my sleep. Nothing is more important than me taking care of myself and going to work out. Like, how can you possibly expect me to sacrifice those things for a job, and even on top of me working all day? And I feel like a lot of those people didn't have that, didn't mind it. They didn't mind it at all. And like they actually, and they felt like they could compete in that environment. Like they would compete with each other, and I never felt like I understood them, and I never felt like they understood me. So that's one of the other reasons why I eventually realized it's because I'm in the wrong environment. It's not the environment itself, it's that I'm in the wrong one. And it's not the people either. I also had to stop judging those people because they're in the right environment for themselves and they're just living their life. Just because I don't understand it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means I'm in the wrong place. The biggest thing, I felt stagnant. I felt like I was depreciating, like I was dying. And you even seen that video, like I do not look healthy. I have acne, my face, my hair, I'm not taking care of myself. Like, and I was making more money there than I'm making now. Like, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I couldn't get myself to take care of myself. I was depressed. I just didn't realize that I was. And I felt like I was going backwards, especially because I remember one of the biggest things for me was that when I went to college, I felt like, okay, well, it's an upgrade because now I have the freedom of my time and I can choose whether or not I want to go to class. I can choose when I want to work out. I can choose when I want to do homework. And I loved school. Don't get me wrong. I was amazing at it. I loved it. I graduated top of my class. I graduated with a master's. I loved every moment of it. I still decided if I found a class to be helpful and I wanted to go, or if I felt like if I studied on myself, I would do better. So when I started working, I felt like I'm going backwards. I'm like, why am I now going back to where you're telling me what to do? You're telling me how to dress. You're telling me what time to come in and what time to leave. You're telling me what to do all day at work. I have no freedom of myself. I have no say in the choices that I can make for my work. So it was really confusing for me. I felt like I was going backwards. What else? I lacked passion. I didn't care. I did not feel proud of my work. I did not feel like I was contributing. I didn't feel like what I did mattered. No matter how good of a job I did, I felt like at the end of the day, who fucking cared about what I'm doing for this car that is, it was just, to me, it was just so insignificant. And again, maybe this will be significant for some people. And there was people that this was a significant work for them. They were proud of it. But for me, it really wasn't. And that was another reason why, how I knew. Okay, what else? Oh, guys, this one. I really need you to ask yourself. I need you to ask yourself, what is the percentage of your day or your week that you do the things that you enjoy? And what is the percentage of your week that you do the things that you don't like? And you really need to pay attention to that, because I remember that I realized most of my time, literally 90% of my time in the week, was spent doing shit I fucking hated. It wasn't even like remotely close to what I liked. So of course I felt trapped. Of course I felt like I was living for the weekend. Of course I felt like I could not wait for the day to be over so I could go home, so I could now finally do something that I want to do. And of course I was chronically tired because I'm going home and I'm feeling like my entire day was stolen from me, and now I have to stay up so I can have some time to myself, so I can attend to my own needs, and then can't sleep because I'm up taking care of me and doing the things I want. And then next thing you know, I'm exhausted when I go to work the next day, and the cycle repeats itself. And that's how you get unhealthy, and that's how you get all sorts of diseases. I had so many problems. I had neck pains. I had debilitating neck pains. I mean, where when I stood up, like my vision would go blurry and my head would pound, and I was always sick. I always had some cold or something. I had so many things wrong with my feminine things, like periods and shit like that. Everything under the sun was wrong with that, with my feminine side. These are all signs. These are all signs that you're not living a life that's aligned with you. So these are some of the signs that I experienced that made me realize that I really had to leave. I really had to leave. And you watched that video and I said, like, if you want something good to come into your life, you have to make space for it. And you know where I learned that? I learned that when I met my husband. Right before I met my husband, I was at a point where I had given up on dating. I was so done with everything. I was like, I'm never gonna date. I literally had the phone number of a doctor to call on my mirror that I was gonna go freeze my eggs. I wasn't dating anybody. I stopped going on any dates. I stopped hanging out with any guys. I was like, I'm done. If this means that I have to be with assholes, I have to choose between being alone and being with assholes, I choose being alone over being with assholes any day. So I was gonna go freeze my eggs. Like, I'd given up on all men. And in that moment, at that time, I read a book, and I don't remember what it was called. It was probably the first book I ever read. Now I read like religiously, and books change your life. But I read this book, and I took its advice, and I wrote down on a piece of paper what I looked for in a husband, what I looked for in a companion. And I wrote it all down. I said, I want someone to love me for who I am, someone to accept me for who I am, someone where I can be myself. I don't have to change myself around them. Someone who can be my partner, who wants to share a life with me, who wants to hang out with me, who doesn't run away from me. Like all these guys, I felt like they kept running away. It's like, do you want to be in a relationship or do you not? Anyway, like I wrote down all the things that I wanted. And after that, I made space. I thought, okay, if this is the guy I want, maybe this guy will come into my life, maybe he won't. But when he does come into my life, what do I want that life to look like? And this is where it all started. This is where I started thinking, I can't see myself working at this job. I cannot. And this was 2 years before I quit. And that's when I met my husband. I literally met my husband like a month after, maybe 2 months after I wrote that letter. I wrote that description. And the description wasn't like, oh, this is how he looks. No, that's stupid. You want to write how it feels for you to be with that person. How you feel when you are with that person, how your life feels when you are with that person. That's what you want to write about. Not like, oh, he's tall and handsome. Because I'm laughing because I've done that. And it's silly, it doesn't work. It doesn't mean anything. That's why it doesn't work. So I wrote that, and then I thought, okay, I can't see myself doing being a corporate engineer. And then I thought, okay, well, what can I do? What do I like? What do I actually enjoy right now? And at the moment, I was like a few years into my own fitness journey. And I loved what I was doing. My highlight of my day was going to the gym. I would write down my workouts while I was at work, and I would like wait for the time for me to leave work and go to the gym. And I thought, okay, this is something I love. Maybe I can pursue more of it. How could I pursue more of it? And then I thought, okay, I could pursue more of it if I got a certification, and maybe I became a trainer. So that's what I did. I paid for a cheap certification. It didn't matter to me. I just got something because I'd already been training myself for years. I'd lost weight. I'd gotten toned. Like I've learned so much about food. So I knew what I was doing. I just wanted to get in the door somewhere. So I got a cert, and I can make a video about this later. And I looked at a few gyms, ended up choosing one gym, and my husband worked there. He was a trainer there. And I kid you not, I met him within the first 2 weeks of being there, and he was their top trainer. He was their head trainer, so he was like training me. But literally after the first time we hung out for work, we went on a date and we started dating. Like 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We started dating. 3 months after that, we moved into a condo that we bought together. And I was on his phone bill. I was on his phone bill after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of us dating. He put me on his phone bill because something came up and I had to come off of a phone bill with somebody else, with a family member. So he put me on his phone bill. Then we went on a vacation together. We went to Florida to Universal like a couple of months after that. And then another month after that, we bought a condo. We moved in together. And 2 months after that, we hit COVID, and we spent the entire COVID together in one house. Like my life really changed. My life changed from the moment that I decided to ask myself, how do I want my life to look like? What would make me happy? What kind of life would make me happy? You know, and just pursued that. And there was a lot of struggles. There was a lot of obstacles. I had my friends at the time were very toxic because they were friends that I trauma bonded with, and they didn't understand why I was spending all my time studying for a certification. They thought they would tell me, "Oh, you're an engineer. What are you gonna do? Be a trainer? What are you gonna do? Like that's silly. How are you? That's like that. Who wants to do that?" And they were all in the auto industry. And all they wanted me to do is go out with them drinking on Saturdays and Sundays and Fridays and Thursdays. We literally, there was a time where I went out drinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I was literally hungover every day. My body hurt so much. I would wake up the next day, I would just be like hunched over on the ground. Like I could not even move. Like very, very unhealthy, very unhappy. So yeah, there was a lot of crabs. Like the crab story, another story I had for you. The crab story is like there's a fisher with a bucket of crabs, and there's all these crabs in there that he takes out to use to fish. And one of the crabs get out of the bucket. By the time he tries to crawl up to the top, other crabs keep trying to pull it down because they don't want to see you succeed. And that there's some people that don't want to see you succeed, especially if they're questioning who you are, if they're questioning your decisions in a judgmental way, instead of asking you, well, instead of asking you, well, what do you want? Okay, if that's what you want, I accept you for who you are. That wasn't the case. So watch out for your friends and for the people you're surrounded with. Most of the time, if you're in the wrong environment, you're not around the right people either. So they're not going to understand your decisions. But anyway, so I really I want to make another video because I don't want to make this one super, super long. But please leave me some comments. Tell me what you want to know about. I want to tell you a little bit about what I've had to learn after I quit my job. And here's the thing. Yes, I was a little bit prepared. So as I told you the story, I went into personal training. I went into the fitness industry. And while I was in the fitness industry and I started my career in there, I still had my job. I still had my job for, I think, 2 years. One of those years was within COVID, so it didn't really matter because I was home. But one of those years was I was also working. So I would literally go to the gym, train clients or do classes from like 4 or 5 a.m. to 7. Then I would change and run to work. And then I would come back from work and I would go back to the gym and I would train clients or have like a class or something that I was teaching and stuff like that. So it was really, really hard. It was very tiring, but I was tired anyway. If I wasn't going to the gym, I was going out drinking. So it didn't fucking matter. So I had to like really channel my energy, and it was worth it. And this is, I guess, fitness is still something that I'm still pursuing. I've tried many other things since then. I've tried tech sales. I've tried real estate. I've tried, what is it called? Trading, like stock market trading. I've tried a lot. I tried doing like some lower level jobs, like secretary jobs, assistant jobs. And somehow, I mean, and it's not like, I did not marry a sugar daddy, okay? So Gino works, he's trying to figure out his life, he's been trying to figure it out, I've been trying to figure it out, and we're making it, we're getting there. It's not perfect, we have problems, our life isn't perfect, but the things that matter most are the things that we have. We have love in our life, we have a good relationship that we communicate and we talk and we help each other. We're both like continuously learning more about ourselves to see what we want and who we are, how do we take action, what motivates us. So we're continuously educating ourselves with books. We keep making decisions for ourselves to pursue the things that we love. Like we're really just stepping into this world with this idea of like, I tell myself this every day. I say I am a contribution. Whether or not I know who I'm contributing to and how I'm changing their life, that's irrelevant. I just have faith and I try my best. Every day I try my best. And I have some really bad days where I just panic. I'm just in a state of panic. Because some months, we've had very hard months where like we didn't know where the money was gonna come from. We didn't know. And it came in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not saying that we weren't taking action, we were. But we didn't know that action was gonna lead into us being able to pay rent and get by and live another fucking month. But I would not switch it for anything. I would not change it for anything. This is like we're living a life of love and passion and fulfillment and curiosity and adventure. I mean, what else do you want me to tell you? I am so passionate about this. I really am. So in another video, I'm going to talk about basically what I did after. Why I took out my 401k and why I think 401k is silly, what I did with that money, and also I want to talk about the skills I've had to learn to make my own money, and that's very important. I think that's very important. It's something that if you haven't come from a family that already has taught you these things about money and about like working and about making your own money, you will probably not know these things. And I didn't know any of this. Not only I wasn't in a family like, I didn't grow up in a family like that. I didn't grow up in the US at all. I lived in a different country. So it was very, very different for me. And sometimes I would get upset. I'm like, oh, why did it have to be like that for me? It had to be like that for me so I could sit here and I could help you. But, so yeah, I want to talk about those skills that Gino and I have spent a few years like learning, and it's definitely has paid off. It's now paying us off now, you know, and it takes time. Everything good takes time. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about. And if you're in that situation where you want to quit your job, or you already have, and you're in the struggle right now, you're in the trenches, please reach out to me, leave a comment, reach out to me on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I love to hear from you. I want to see what you're experiencing, and I will help you in any way that I can, whether it's a video or whether it's chatting with you, whatever it is. Thank you for watching this video. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I make daily vlogs. That's most of my channel. And then I also make some of these videos because they're more like on the informational side, where I just sit down and I talk about a specific topic because it was maybe in my past or something like that. Most of my daily vlogs are just around what I do in my day-to-day, which I'm a personal trainer and I'm a fitness coach. And I kind of show you what my schedule is. I also show you like what I eat in a day, how I work out, because I'm also like losing weight right now. I'm leaning out. It's been 2 months and I can't be happier with the results. So I just give you so much information like that can help you with your fitness, with your health, with your anything, how to build a life that you love. And yes, and you'll see very quickly that I don't know how to end these videos. I do this every fucking video. So thank you for watching. Like this video if it gave you any value whatsoever, and subscribe to see more of my vlogs if you're interested in it. Yeah, okay, bye.